What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Monday Night's Late Night Agenda. I thought we'd have a bit of a debrief after yesterday's pretty much enthralling game against Manchester City. I have to say, if I was a neutral, which of course I wasn't, sitting back watching that game, I would have enjoyed a very good afternoon's football. I think a draw was a fair result, even reflecting back on it. We'll of course talk through all the big talking points of the game. We'll discuss the injury that Trent has picked up as well. We'll go through everything else that you guys want to. I just want a bit of a debrief basically, folks, because we're going to be heading off for a few days break after tonight's stream, and I did promise you guys last night I'd come on tonight and have a little bit of an international break, I suppose. Help group, support group, because that's what it's going to have to be. I hate these breaks. I hate these windows. I'm fully waiting for the Reds to come back to action. And look, I'll wait for the chat to fill up a little bit. We'll get through all the big talking points. If you're watching this back later on, I'd love to know your thoughts on the game yesterday as well, and anything else that you want to talk about, of course, folks. Brian, how are we? Said Harari, Brian. I can't speak English anymore, Brian. I've lost the plot completely. I think everyone just wants to see Thiago doing his stuff, mate. I'm nearly dreaming of that song now. I'm going around the house whistling the Thiago song. I'm fairly sure I heard me dog barking the team tune earlier on. But yeah, you're right, mate. We're all just waiting for Thiago to drop into that midfield. I even said to Connor earlier on, messing, was this a dream? Did we sign Thiago? Love the confidence. Again, I get the shit for the stream titles, which is what Mr. Crosby comes up with. I said to Connor, put something out there about will anyone challenge Liverpool this season, or are Liverpool the title favourites? And of course, Mr. Crosby being Mr. Crosby wants to land me in the hot water and just puts it out there. But look, I do stand by what he says, to be fair. I don't think anybody's going to be able to cope with us this season, but we'll talk about that as the stream goes on. Look, ladies and gentlemen, the big news, and I'm sure I'm going to have to repeat this on a few occasions because people will drop in and out, and look, no problem with that. Trent Alexander-Arnold, according to Paul Joyce, seems to be ruled out for around 4 weeks, which is about 2 weeks after the international break. Obviously, there's some big games he's going to miss out. First one up will be Leicester City at home, obviously, after the international break. And I want to have a chat around the options that Jurgen Klopp will have available to him to take up Trent's place for the couple of weeks. I mean, I was just thinking about it really briefly before I came on, and there's a whole host of ways that we can deal with this situation because we're going to have Fabinho back and hopefully Thiago back as well after the international break. I mean, we can rely on the Fabinho part. I'm hoping about the Thiago part like everybody else. But how are we? It's not the news we wanted. I suppose could have been worse. Could have been better. Whenever you see an injury these days, unlike days before, players don't really play with too many knocks these days. The medical staff, the sports sciences team, they rightly err on the side of caution because these guys have, their future careers to think about as well. Sometimes I'm sure the players would play through the pain barrier if needs be, but it's a long season ahead, and as Jurgen Klopp, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Pep Guardiola and numerous other managers have gone on to say, this is a season like no other, where the games are coming thick and fast, the recovery time is minimal, and we probably will see a lot of players picking up injuries because of the hectic schedule. Again, the managers have been talking lately about the 3 or 5 substitution conversation. I thought we could have a little chat around that tonight as well. When you're talking about these things, though, when we're discussing the 5 or 3 substitutes, I always find it's very difficult to look at this from a neutral point of view because obviously the bigger clubs like Liverpool, City, United, whoever it might be, they're probably going to have deeper squads, and the 5 substitutes may probably benefit the bigger clubs. So let's have a chat around that tonight as well, folks. What have we got? Neco Williams being at right back, said Ray. So is Trent out for 4 to 5 weeks, Dylan? About 4 from what we can gather, mate. That's at least what Paul Joyce tweeted out earlier on. Milner will play at right back. See, we're already seeing different things here. Let me pitch you guys something. A few options, if you will. Entertain me, and then we'll have a chat around it. So, the options available to the gaffer. The easy one, Neco, as people have pointed out. Nico, excuse me. I often mispronounce the gentleman's name. Can come in and play at right back. No problem there. Joe Gomez could go off and play at right back. We could see Fabinho drop in alongside Joel Matip. Now, the problem that with that scenario is you've got your 3 centre-back options basically on the pitch, and then you're increasing, of course, the probability of one of those guys picking up an injury because 3 of them are on the pitch. So you could easily play Joe Gomez at right back and put Fabinho alongside Joel Matip. Or, as we did yesterday, of course, you could have Gomez and Matip at centre-back, play Fabinho at right back. You could play James Milner at right back. Heck, if you even wanted to, and you wanted to go really strange about it, you could probably even drop Hendo back to right back in a pinch. There are options there. Trent will be greatly missed, especially with the attacking intent and the attacking threat that he gives us. But again, it's an opportunity for somebody else to step up and maybe stake a claim in the manager's mind. You know me, folks. I always try and look at a positive if ever there's a positive to be had. And one thing that the gaffer will be doing right now is working through solutions, because that's what he always looks to do. Find solutions to the problems that keep mounting. And look, we're only, a quarter of the way almost into the season at this point. Ishmael said, Fabinho centre-back, Gomez right-back, ? Again, it's entirely possible, mate. Lens-based media said, suppose with Trent out during the internationals, it may be only 2 weeks without him playing. Yes, that is true, mate. I mean, again, if there ever is a positive to be had from this international break, it's that we'll probably have Fabinho back. It gives Thiago a bit more time. Oxlade-Chamberlain will be 2 weeks closer to his return. And yeah, now we hope, of course, that none of the lads travelling pick up any knocks or injuries while on international duty. I cannot believe for the life of me that there was 3 games crammed into this period of international football. Again, this is our 3rd international break before Christmas since the season has started. It's madness, folks. It's absolute madness. And then, as loads of people are pointing out as well, Kostas Tsimikas, of course. Maybe we see him at right back. Maybe Robbo switches across. There are options there. I mean, Trent is one hell of a loss, don't get me wrong, but we do have multiple options that we can make do with until Trent is back, and it looks like 2 weeks after the international break. So, again, there are some options there. Just bring some youth through, said Ross. That's great in theory, buddy, but, you know, some people get a bit worried if they don't come in and become, I don't know, prime Roberto Carlos, Maldini, or pick another great defender. A few shouts for Tsimikas in the chat as well, which is sound. Again, great to have Kostas Tsimikas back and available for the manager. What have we got? If everyone is back, bar Virgil and Trent after the international break. And Oxlade-Chamberlain, mate, he won't be available either, I don't think, after the international break. 3 games is criminal, said the captain. It's madness, isn't it? I mean, just for the players as well. Travelling, different countries, in and out of bubbles. It just increases their chance as well to, you know what. I don't even want to say the words at this point. Tsimikas can play right back. Yes, he can. He can play left back. He can play left centre back. He can play left in the backside of 3. He can play left wing back. So yeah, we do have options. That's one positive, if there is any positive to be taken from this. I like Ashish's comment there. Just get Thiago in, everything will be sound. That's pretty much where we're all at, buddy, isn't it? It is just... I was looking at the game against Manchester City yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, now as good as the job Gini did, imagine Thiago, Hendo there, with Bobby in front of them. It's going to be amazing. It really is. If the gaffer sticks to the attacking intent that we started out with yesterday in the first half of that game against Manchester City, we're in for one hell of a roller coaster ride this season, and an enjoyable one at that. Guarantee you somebody will get C, said Neil Davies. I know, mate. I'm even afraid to say the words myself at this point. Did I get Genie to sign the contract? I'm working on it, Ray. I'm working on it, pal. Look, I don't know what the situation is with Genie Wijnaldum, to be honest with you. But as I always say, when a footballer signs for the club, all we ask them or should expect of them is that they fulfil the terms of their contract. And if Genie Wijnaldum leaves at the end of this season, he should and will leave with a massive pat on the back, a big hug from all of us, and a massive thank you for a job well done, because he's been nothing but a thorough professional. We'd all love Genie to sign on and stay, absolutely. You won't get any argument from me about that one, sure. How could you not love Genie? What else have we got? Your thoughts on Klopp's statement about the 5 subs. It is a topic I wanted to talk about tonight. Give me 5 minutes, buddy, and I'll go back and we'll discuss it if that's alright. I just want to get a few more thoughts on the right back situation, and I want to have a chat around the issue that you're speaking about there, mate. I want to have a chat around the 5 subs. Also, a bit of a heads up, actually, next Monday at about, I think, 8:45, Mark Goldbridge is going to come across and have a chat with me. We're going to talk about VAR and how it should be implemented going forward, what we think is right, what we think is wrong. We'll probably have a bit of a catch-up about the season as well. So mark that one into your diaries, folks. Next Monday, 8:45, myself and Mark going to be having a chat around VAR, and I'm very much looking forward to catching up with Mark, of course, congratulating him on his 900k. But most importantly, getting stuck into a proper conversation around VAR. Going to be spending the next few days getting statistics and stuff ready to back up any arguments that we have on that one, because it's just taken over the headlines week in and week out now. It's all everybody's talking about, and I think we've all had it up to our tonsils at this point with VAR and the dodgy decision making that we're seeing consistently across the board. That's weird, actually, saying the word consistency and dodgy, but that's genuinely how it feels to most of us. OJ Gaming, excuse me, sir, said top 6 predictions. Liverpool, do you want it in order, or, it's very difficult to pinpoint it, but let's go Liverpool, City, Chelsea. Actually, hang on. Liverpool, City. Yeah, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Spurs, United, Leicester? Maybe? It's very difficult because you could make an argument for a lot of teams to get into that top six. And there could be a surprise package as well. But yeah, if you were to, make me hang my coat on it right now, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Spurs, United, and a surprise package, or Leicester at sixth place maybe. But it will be difficult. It will be a very competitive season, I think. Probably, as Lisa, one of our viewers, pointed out to me in the comment section, it's not going to be a season where I think you're going to see a side break 93, 94, 95 points. I think you probably win the Premier League this season 90 points, 92, 89, something like that. So maybe a more competitive season overall. Can you do a watch along on Mundo Sporto on England versus Ireland? No, I don't think so, mate. Don't rule it out completely, but I don't know what my time schedule is like next week because I've got a lot of interviews piled in. We've got Jan Agafjortov coming on next week as well. Lee Chappie from Leicester City Fan, he's going to be coming across for a preview ahead of the game against Leicester next Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to go on to Lee's channel and do the same. So I have a lot of stuff coming up. If I can fit it in, I promise you, mate, I'll try my best. What have we got? Puskas is a god, said Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, Salah, Jota, Mane is our strongest 11. I don't think that is our strongest 11, in my humble opinion, buddy. I mean, you've included VVD there, which, yes, I suppose could push Fabinho forward into midfield, but I find it very difficult to drop Bobby, even in his not great form right now. But look, that's an amazing 11 one way or the other. Neil Davies said the Leicester game is going to be a big one. Do you guys genuinely feel that way? I mean, if I put my hand on my heart right now, I think Leicester will be good. They're always good. They have a good side. But I don't see them as title challengers. I mean, there's a lot of talk now about Spurs' firepower and how Spurs could go on a run and basically maybe win the Premier League. I don't see that either, if I'm being honest, because Harry Kane has a history of picking up injuries at difficult times in the season. Gareth Bale is not the most reliable player for injuries either. Two fantastic footballers, do not get me wrong. And of course Son is brilliant as well, but I still see some deficiencies in that Spurs team that I don't think over the course of a season they'll last the pace. I felt the same about Everton when everyone was talking about them at the start of the season. I knew that they were a James Rodriguez injury away from falling down as well. Again, these sides will all improve and may come closer and, mount some challenge to Liverpool and City, but I still believe at the end of the season it will be Liverpool and Manchester City that take places 1 and 2. But look, it's more enjoyable the way it is, absolutely. I mean, a title race would be good for everybody. I mean, we won it so easily last year that it was not an anticlimax, but a strange experience. My nan's got bunions. Thank you for the super chat, mate. Said we could play a 4-3-3 with Fabinho at the defensive mid and Neco at right back. We could, yes, absolutely. Again, though, we'd be at the point where I'm just wondering, will Klopp risk our 3 centre-back options? So will he play Fabinho? Will he play Gomez? And will he play Matip in the one game? Risking, again, one injury away from being in a centre-back crisis. Although, as you point out, we do have the young lads coming through as well, or as many people point out. Brian said, Leicester are flying at the minute. I don't like playing them when they're flying. Thankfully, it's at Anfield. Now, look, I know there's no crowd inside the stadium, but I still feel that gives us an edge. And they're always enjoyable games. I always look forward to our games against Leicester because, they're always competitive. They're always decent games. But Jamie Vardy always haunts us, doesn't he? He's a proper workhorse, Jamie Vardy. I mean, yeah, you can't give him a sniff. It's going to be really important to keep him as quiet as we can. The captain said Kane will be out for 3 months with an injury almost guaranteed. And then, here's what will happen as well. He'll come back too early to force his way back into the England Euro squad. That's my guess on that one. Brian says no to 3 at the back. Well, I don't think we're going to go to a 3 at the back system. I can't see us changing our system. I don't know if you mean to play the 3 lads at the back, mate, or... Harrison said Fabinho can play at right back. Indeed he can, sir. Yes, played there I believe earlier on in his career at Real as well. I think he might have played there a couple of times for Monaco. Craig, will I buy a centre-back in January or stick with what we have? And I'm going back to the conversation, by the way, in 2 seconds about the 5 substitutes. So get your comments ready on that one. I did promise somebody I'd recap that one. I think the important thing for me, mate, is Kloppo will have a centre-back in mind. He probably had it in mind for next summer before the Van Dijk injury happened. Now, the question is, can we get the player that Klopp really wants in the January window? And how much of a potential, I suppose, sweetener or add-on will we have to pay to get that player mid-season? Let's use an example of Upamecano. We know that next summer his 40 million quid release clause kicks in, and they probably won't want to lose him if they're still in Europe, if they're still fighting in the Bundesliga. So you probably have to go in there and pay a little bit more to get him out in January. Now, I don't know if the club will be willing to do that or not. I don't know how the finances will be at that point, of course. But ideally, yes, we should go out in January, but only if we can get the right centre-back. Any news on Trent? Yeah, spoke about it at the start. Adnan, 4 weeks. It's looking like, mate, 4 weeks with the calf injury. Trent out till December. Well, 4 weeks, mate. I mean, do you know what I mean? I suppose it's the same thing. It just feels, December just feels longer for some reason. I don't know. I still forget that it's November now. Okay, there's somebody in who has a hard on for Rodrigo. Fair play, mate. I mean, is that the only word you know? Are you capable of putting in another word into the chat, perhaps? I mean, you're going to get booted out by the mods in a couple of seconds, but I'll let you have your little Rodrigo time, mate. Fair play to you. Maybe you can learn another word the next time you come in. Right, what have we got? I prefer Neco over Milner at right back. Yeah, I don't like Milner in the full back positions. He doesn't give us enough going forward, I don't think, in my opinion. He checks back inside too often. It's one of the critiques I had of Robbo at one point, but again, he seems to be making those overlapping runs again these days. So it's a good show. Any news on Thiago? Nothing new that I've heard, mate. Nothing new. But look, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a chat around the 5 substitution rule, shall we? Because that's a conversational topic. You've heard Pep Guardiola speaking about it. We heard Kloppo speaking about it, and probably numerous other managers as well. And I've got to be honest about this. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to tell you guys what I said when the decision was made. I wanted 3 substitutes to be the rule for a couple of reasons. 1, it's the norm. But 2, I honestly believe that 5 substitutes favour the bigger sides like Liverpool. So will I see it as an advantage if we can make subs? Yeah. But I see it as an advantage for the top clubs over the smaller clubs. I don't mean to be demeaning by saying smaller clubs. I mean smaller squads. So Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal probably have deeper squads than Burnley or Sheffield United, or pick another club. It doesn't really matter. So it was out of fairness that I wanted the 3 substitutes and not the 5. I can absolutely understand and appreciate the arguments that Pep Guardiola and Kloppo are making, and I can absolutely appreciate that the players need to be protected. It was just out of fairness that I originally went with the 3 substitutes when I was talking about this. But you know, the more you're seeing players getting injured all around the league, I think you're hearing the manager say that there wasn't a proper conversation or the proper information available when Richard Masters of the Premier League made the decision. So I don't know if it'll be revisited, if I'm being honest. I don't know if it can be revisited all the way into a season. I've no idea, but it is one of the few leagues around the world right now that isn't seeing 5 substitutes in place. You go and play in the Champions League, of course, we know you can have 5 substitutes for those games. You watch other leagues around Europe, they've gone with the 5 substitution rule. And look, at the end of the day, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Solskjaer, these guys have more information at hand than we have as fans. So I think it favours the bigger sides, but you know, if everybody was happy to do it, if the Premier League as a whole, the clubs came together and said, look, we're seeing too many injuries now, there's too many games, too much toll on the players, there's international duty and all this stuff as well, you can understand why maybe they want to have the conversation again. I don't see that it'll change this season. Why not 4 subs, said Neil Davies. It's a fair point. I mean, I don't know where the number 5 came from, Neil. I don't know where or how that was plucked out of the air, but yeah, maybe 4 could be a compromise. 5 subs ruins the game, the momentum, too many stoppages. There is that as well, Colin, yeah. And look, from a selfish perspective, and this is just a purely selfish thing, let's say I like a flutter. So let's say I'm watching the league and Barca are playing and I want to put a bet on a goal scorer. 5 substitutes means that you're far less likely to get your attacking player to play the 90 minutes. So that from a selfish point of view, that kind of, you have to take that into consideration when you're betting and stuff like that as well. So there are other things, and yeah, it does ruin the momentum of a game, as you said, if you see a lot of changes taking place at one time. Now, we know with the 5 substitution rule, you're only allowed to make 3 stoppages to make those substitutions, and you could make one at half time, of course, as well. So, yeah, but even though it was 5 substitutes, you could only make 3 stoppages to make those 5 substitutions. The Unbearable said 3 subs is enough. Having 5 subs changes the outcome of games. Craig, can I take a minute to say what a wonderful person you are? I'm so delighted to be part of this Discord and paying membership. Jack, that means the world, mate. Thank you. And I'm glad that you're enjoying the content, you're enjoying the Discord group, and most importantly, mate, that you're enjoying your membership, because, you know, membership is a paid thing, and if you feel you're getting value for that, I'm very happy to hear that, mate, and welcome. Great to have you in with us as well. Callan, I want to have a little word with you, mate. I apologise. The other day, last night, I finished the stream. As soon as I ended, a super chat from Callan came up, or Kaelin, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce it. I want to apologise, mate, for missing that. It was just right as I was going off. So I did spot it. I do apologise. I hate seeing people's money wasted like that. So again, mate, apologies on that bad timing. Small clubs aren't playing midweek like top teams. That is a very good point, Robert. That's a very good point. You're right, they don't have the travel, they don't have the Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday games that teams competing in Europe have. That's a very good point, Robert McCartney, and thank you for raising it, mate. It's I have to be honest, it's one that didn't even pop into my head, because I suppose I'm so Liverpool centric that I'm only thinking about this through Liverpool eyes most of the time, and assuming that, you know, everybody has that same headache. Well, it's not a headache, it's a pleasure to be in the Champions League and watching those games. But yeah, it's a very good point, Robert. And Craig, how much is this top that I've on? I think it depends on where in the world you are, because of different manufacturing and shipping costs. But there are 2 different ones of this top, mate. There's an original version, and there's I don't know what they worded as, but a premium version, something like that. I think I paid around 23 quid for the top, mate, something like that. Now, if anyone does fancy one of these, there is a link in the description. I don't really talk about them much because, you know, I don't like trying to push and sell shit, but yeah, there is a link there if anybody wants them. Only just joined. How long is Trent out for? Jack, 4 weeks by the looks of it, mate. Tiago, I can't say what a wonderful person you are, mate. I'm just a normal dude. Do you know what I will take umbrage with, though? I had to work that word umbrage in there. Somebody did question my integrity in the comment section of a video, and that pissed me off. They tried the video we did on Houlden and his potential move to Liverpool down the line. Somebody actually had the cheek to say that's a Boyle Sports influenced video. Let me tell you one thing, mate. One thing to everybody out there: nobody, and I mean nobody, will ever tell me what to talk about, what not to talk about, or influence my thought process. That Haaland video was absolutely based off the Salzburg sporting director's comments, multiple articles that I've read about as well, and other information that I have that maybe this person doesn't have. So to question my integrity about stuff like that, it's ridiculous. I promise you, I'm representing 57,100 people on this channel. I will never be compromised to be told what to talk about by anybody, and nor would they ever do that. They're a fantastic partner to work with. As I said from day one, it's a family vibe, and we're privileged to be in this position. There's been a few little snotty comments and stuff, and look, some people won't want us to do well. I can understand that. I take that on the chin, but if there's one thing I believe that I have with you guys on this channel, it's trust. I think we've had that from day one. So yeah, I just want you guys to know my thought process will never be influenced by the outside, by anybody. How did Trent get injured? I believe it was it the incident with Sterling, or was that Genie? I missed that whole part of the game yesterday, mate, because I was reading something out. So I looked up and seen he was on the ground. I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me exactly what the collision was. But either way, it's his calf that's ruling him out. Your chair is class. I want one, but Mrs. wouldn't let me. I have to say, Colin, I love the chair so much. I will forever be indebted to Serendipity Furniture, to Kev Laugh, if you're watching as well, for sorting it out, mate. But I love the chair, love it so much. And if anybody has the means and way of wanting to get themselves one, I can certainly vouch for the quality of the chairs. They are an absolute premium product, and Paul and Beth do a wonderful job. Love you, bro. Don't listen to them. Thank you, mate. Again, though, it just annoyed me because You know, I'm representing you guys. I've always said it. This is a community thing. We're in this together. We win together, we lose together. If someone questions me, they question you. And I just wanted to put that straight. It's just one comment, but I wanted to put it straight because I don't want anybody thinking that I would be influenced in that way. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. So nobody will influence my thought process. It was off the ball. Thank you, you. And I didn't see what had happened exactly, so... thank you, Genie, as well. He pulled up when he was chasing back after Sterling. Thank you, Samuel, for that one. We are linked with Rodrigo from Real. I have not seen the links today, Fireball, Griff Gaming. I'm not saying you're wrong, buddy. I'm just saying today for me was catch-up day. Lots of work to do. Lots of stuff from last night. So I just wanted to come on and have a little chat around what's going on, basically, with the right-back situation, the 5 substitution rule. Want to have a little debrief on last night's game as well. Who will be the first manager sacked? I don't know, buddy. I don't... It's a difficult one, that. I mean, Chris Wilder... Surely they won't sack Chris Wilder. He's done so well. Parker? Will they select Scott Parker, do you reckon, or will he get time? I mean, you look down to that end of the table, I would say Parker, maybe. I'm a Chelsea fan. I just subscribed. Thank you, Shazabe. And again, if I mispronounced your name, I apologise. I'll try my best, but I'm known for being awful at pronunciations. But you're very welcome here with us, mate, and thank you for subscribing. Trump should take over Liverpool. There's always one, folks, isn't there? There's always one. Mate, we don't want losers at Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? We're a winning club. We don't want losers. Do you know? We don't want sore losers either, to be honest with you. So, nah, pass. Klopp for Prime Minister. There you go. Now that I can get on board with. Look, one thing we don't do on this channel is religion and politics. We push them to the side. We talk about football and we have a bit of fun. Bilic is a good shout as well. Yeah, the West Brom manager, Darren. Ollie. Oh, Neil, no. Leave Ollie where he is. Again, that's something I'll talk with Mark Goldbridge about next Monday as well. For those that missed it at the start, Goldbridge is going to be joining me next Monday at 8:45. We're going to have a chat around VAR. Obviously, we'll have a little talk around how the season's going as well. But looking forward to having a catch-up with Mark. It's weird. Usually I would have talked to him by now on a stream. But obviously, we're not playing United, I think, till January or something like that. So it'll be, it's been a while. So it'll be nice to catch up with Mark. They won't sack Parker. He's a club legend and he's the only hope for Fulham. Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, Sam, but just look at that team, mate, and it's just meh. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just meh. Now, I know when they came up last time they spent a whole lot of money and it didn't work out for them, but I mean, you can't be relying just really on Mitrovic up there to do the job every week. Hoping Poch doesn't go to United. Ash, I'm not going to lie to you. That would make me sit up and take notice. And they've an opportunity there to get him now if they sack Solskjaer. So I'm hoping Pochettino gets an offer from elsewhere and takes that job. Thoughts on our formation, said Base Face in Space. I thought, and I think the manager summed this up brilliantly, by the way, in his interview, which gives you an insight into the little things that us mere mortals miss. I thought the first half, the system worked fantastically. I thought, as the manager said, as articles have said, we may have taken Man City by surprise. Certainly took me by surprise to see the 4 lads in the starting lineup. I didn't think we were going to see it. But it worked really well. We were like red arrows, as I said before, zooming everywhere in attack. And probably could have had a couple of extra goals in the first half. Bobby Firmino's first minute chance, I still think he should have done better with. Just a couple of other bits and pieces, but there are signs there that system could work. But for me, it works better when we have Thiago and Hendo behind and the lads bombing forward, because they got through an unbelievable amount of work yesterday. Unbelievable amount. Obviously, Bobby got pulled about the hour mark and Shaqiri came on. Again, Shaqiri was lively, but he didn't impact the game, I think, as he would have hoped and as we would have hoped. But Manchester City did penetrate our midfield more in the second half, putting a lot of pressure on Gini and Hendo, and they needed a bit more help. I think Manchester City figured that out. I mean, there was a very good article that I read on The Athletic where they were speaking about how well we blocked the passing channels to Kevin De Bruyne in that game, and they were showing instances of Gini Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson purposely standing in the line of vision to block Kevin De Bruyne getting involved in the game, and when he did get involved in the game, a couple of opportunities. One, of course, led to Gabriel Jesus' goal, which was an excellent finish by him. And the other one was a Kevin De Bruyne strike that went just wide, just after, you probably remember, just wide of Alisson's right-hand post. It was a very good article. It just shows some examples of how Manchester City tweaked it in the second half a little bit as well to kind of get themselves back into the game. I thought it was an excellent game to watch, and one that I've actually enjoyed watching back since, because it showed the best of the Premier League, and it showed the cleverness of both managers. It showed the flexibility of both squads, and how tactically astute both sets of players were. So for me, that was a game yesterday, and as Gary Neville even said in the first half, that was just sensational. Both sides attacking, going head to head, proper football. It was a joy to watch, it really was. And I think coming out of the game yesterday, a draw was a fair result. I've got no qualms about the result yesterday. I think a draw was fair. I've qualms about the penalty incident, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, but all in all, I think the result was good. Or at least acceptable, I should say. But look, let's chat around that penalty incident, by the way. And the reason I'm going to bring this up is not out of bitterness from me, because it's gone, we move on. But you know the way Sky Sports do their ref watch thing? Well, they had Dermot Gallagher on, and in his opinion, and of course it's just his opinion as well, thought it shouldn't have been a penalty. Thought the one in the Leicester City game shouldn't have been a penalty as well. The handball rule is getting beyond the joke right now, both for offside decisions, where the line's being drawn from the arm, and of course for handball incidents. Now, what bugged me about the game yesterday, and this has divided Liverpool fans, even in a Discord group, there's been some different versions of was it or was it not a penalty. Some people in a Discord group thought that Gomez was rightly penalised and it was a penalty. Others thought differently. I was in the others camp. But what annoyed me most is they gave the penalty for Joe Gomez, so that happened. Then in the second half, we had a very similar incident where the ball was hit at João Cancelo, and the only difference I could see was maybe a yard or two a little bit closer perhaps, but that wasn't even reviewed. He wasn't even sent over to look at that, and it's just a glaring inconsistency that annoys me, because if you're going to pull up for handballs and everybody knows that, you know, that's going to be a handball, then it has to be consistent. And it wasn't. And it annoys me. And it annoys fans. And even with the offside thing, I'll go back to the Patrick Bamford goal. That for me should be the very incident that changes the offside rule again. I don't know if it's the handball part of it that needs to be changed, where the line is drawn, whatever. But that was beyond a joke. His 2 feet, or at least one of them, were outside the 18-yard box, as was most of his body. The defenders were inside the 18-yard box, because Bamford was pointing where he wanted the ball. He was offside. It was a joke. It's ruining the sport. You can't celebrate a goal anymore. You're sitting around going, right, I don't think there's any offside in that, but, you know, they're going to go back and try and find something. And it's just, I look forward to chatting to Mark about this, because I tell you, I have a lot to get off my chest. The rules need to be reviewed, said the captain. What else we got? Paul Curtis said, last year versus Genk, I walked out with the ref and met the team of Klopp at Anfield. That is brilliant, Paul. Love it, mate. Well in. Delighted for you. What a moment that must have been. Congratulations. I hope you soaked it up, buddy, and enjoyed every minute of it, because they're moments you remember for the rest of your life, Paul. So well played. I think we can do teams with our proper midfielders, said Hassie. VAR is crazy, even though I'll always love football. Every single time I celebrate a goal, I'm thinking in the back of my head, God, this could be called off for somebody offside in the build-up. Yeah, Samuel, I'm with you on that, buddy. I'm exactly the same. I think we could have been given that and the respect to us to even look at the monitor, said Joanne. It's just inconsistencies, Joanne. That's what annoys me. I mean, I've always said I want the referee to be the ones making the calls. So the fact that Craig Pawson went over and looked at the monitor, I'm taking that as a positive. But, as Jamie Carragher rightly pointed out, I think there's been one decision out of the last, God knows how many, let's say this season anyway, only one decision that's been overturned by a ref going to look at a monitor, and I don't know which incident he was talking about, but he said that the ref had made a hames of it beforehand anyway. So, yeah, there you go. So it seems that even when the refs are going over to look at the monitors, they're not changing their minds. But what annoys me again, excuse me for rambling on about this, why the hell is a handball being looked at in slow motion? Look at it in real time. It didn't happen in slow motion. Everything looks more deliberate in slow motion. Be it a tackle, be it a handball, whatever it might be. it shouldn't be looked at in slow motion unless they need to break down the frames for something like an offside. If it's a foul, if it's a handball, look at it in real time, because that's how the ref sees it in the game. Slowing it down makes everything look worse. And this first came to my attention at the World Cup when VAR was brought in. When things were being looked at in slow motion, it was clear. It was clear that they looked worse. Of course you can get one moment where Gomez's arm might be up here. Of course you can, because it's a natural movement of his body. And again, I'm talking about it from a Liverpool perspective. I can as easily talk about the Leicester City game. I can point out numerous other incidents this weekend. It's just frustrating. It really is frustrating. Fair play to De Bruyne, by the way, for putting that wide out of his allegiance to Liverpool. We all know he's a massive Liverpool fan. So fair play to KDB for doing the right thing and just knocking that one past the post. Will Genie sign a new contract? Again, I don't know, mate. We spoke about it earlier on in the stream. I sincerely hope so. Mane was amazing versus Atalanta, said Jake. Yeah, Mane's been in fine form, mate, recently. Absolutely loving his performances. Right, some more comments. Ref should have looked at the monitor in the Everton match. Paul, I've blocked that game out of my head completely, buddy. It's gone beyond a joke. Yeah. Even just thinking back now, mate, about that Pickford tackle. By the way, he was at that again. Yeah, there you go. Nice humour about KDB's penalty. You got to laugh at these things, buddy. If you don't laugh at it, you lose your mind. LFC Fan 96, welcome back to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. He has become the newest member of the channel. And if you want to join, well, he's already been a member. I can see he's got the red badge there. So he's renewed his membership. But look, if you want to come on, ladies and gentlemen, and become a member, this is what you get for your membership. You get the Anfield Agenda badge beside your name. That badge starts off as bronze, and the longer you're with us, it works its way up to red. You get the custom emojis, whether it be my bald head, Klopp, Virgil van Dijk, Mane, whoever you want. And you also get access to our Discord group, which genuinely is where we share the innermost secrets of the channel, the little transfer gossips that we get, the starting 11s, all that type of stuff that we won't share on social media. We do talk about in our Discord group. So if you want to become a member, it is $4.99 a month. Click the blue join button or link in the description. But either way, just having you here with us is more than good enough for me. I just want the company, folks. I just need you people to chat to and keep me entertained, because that's what we do for a couple of hours a week. A week? Couple? It's more than a couple. It's about 15, Craig. Since the Villa beating, we've found some form. Yes, I mean 5 wins out of the last 7 since the Villa game, mate. On a run of 7 unbeaten. So yeah, maybe that was a little reminder to the guys. And look, Villa showed again. Went to the Etihad and gave Arsenal a beating as well. They're in fine form. They're believing in their system. Jack Grealish is playing some outstanding football. Ollie Watkins is banging a few goals in as well. So full credit to Aston Villa and Dean Smith. And look, there was no accident that they beat us that day. They were by far the better side. Samuel agrees with me that everything does look deliberate in slow motion. It does, it's ridiculous. Thomas McGee said it's his birthday on Thursday. We probably won't be streaming on Thursday, Thomas, so let me say it now, buddy. Happy birthday to you from all of us, from Connor, myself, Dave, and everybody associated with the channel. Happy birthday. Is KDB a Liverpool fan? I believe so, mate, yes. I mean, there are images of him floating around in the Liverpool shirt when he was younger, but you can never be 100% certain of the authenticity of these things these days. Do I know who... No, I don't know who that is, mate. Whoever that name is. I've no idea who he is. England would have won the World Cup if VAR was available in 1986. I don't know what to say, mate. I mean, I'm still celebrating Ireland's quarter-final in Italia 90. Would I bring back Emre Can? For what reason? I'd fail to see why we'd need him, to be honest with you. Plus... You know, he's a Dortmund player right now. Went to Juventus, didn't work out, ended up at Dortmund. But no, again, Emre Can's another example of a player, by the way, or Emre Can, that fulfilled his contract with the club and left. So I have no issues with Emre Can whatsoever. Just like Adam Lallana and maybe like Gini Wijnaldum, fully professional in his time here, served the club as best as he could. I have no issues with Emre Can whatsoever. Paul Smith said, wow, 57,000. I know, mate, it's absolutely flying along, and I think we're about 5 or 6 subscribers away from hitting 57,200. So look, if you're enjoying the stream or you're watching this back later on and you haven't yet subscribed, please do take a second, hit the subscribe button and maybe drop a little like on the video as well. Sure, why not? YTX Bobsberg said Origi should be sold. I don't disagree with you. Of course, all of us have incredibly fond memories of what Divock has done for this club, and he will be forever remembered for those massive moments. But football is ruthless, and right now, I think he's at least 6th in the pecking order of attacking players. He doesn't look at the races when he's come on lately. Again, being respectful to Divock because of those amazing moments, but I can't disagree with you, mate. I would move him on. Interestingly enough, Stephen Kenny, the Ireland manager, was speaking about Caoimhín Kelleher, saying that he's no doubt about Caoimhín Kelleher's ability, but that Caoimhín Kelleher was supposed to have been gone out on loan this season, obviously before the Alisson injury and stuff. Like I told you guys, the plan was to send him on loan, but he's been kept. And I don't want to see Caoimhín Kelleher's career stalled, because he is a very good goalkeeper. I would like to see him get an opportunity as number 2 at some point, but he does need game time, so I do agree with Stephen Kenny on that one as well. Only 43 more thousand until the tattoo. Yes, and I will get it. I'm absolutely a man of my word. When we hit 100,000 subscribers, I will get that trolling comment, my favourite trolling comment, tattooed exactly as it appears. So it looked like a full-on comment. It'll have the love heart. It'll have your man's little circle with his eye in it or whatever beside it. I will get it fully as it is. Probably on my arse, if I'm being honest, because I think that's where it belongs. Pickford is demonstrably dangerous, said Brian. Any Haaland updates? No, Benjamin, none, mate. None at the minute. But again, I've explained in detail, and I will try and dig up more information on it as and when I can. Of course, I will ask Jan Fjørtoft about the Haaland situation when I speak to him next week. Do I think Brewster will come back? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. We have a 3-year buyback option in that contract with Ryan Brewster, but look, it's up to Ryan to go and prove himself and score goals. And Sheffield United are struggling right now, but hopefully he can be part of what will help them turn that round. Get a WFM tattoo. I don't know, mate, but maybe at some point, if WFM actually becomes more of a brand. I've always thought to myself, I'll get that trolling comment tattooed. It's if you haven't seen it, check out our Instagram. Connor has the whole image up there and everything as well. At Anfield Agenda. If you don't follow us on Instagram, I think we're at 26,500 Instagram followers now, which is brilliant considering we were at about 11k a few months back. So again, fantastic work by Connor. What happened to Keita? Nothing, mate. He's just coming back from an injury. Got some minutes in the Champions League. I actually thought he might have got a start yesterday against Manchester City, but he's back and available. What have we got? Max Ward said, Craig, the guys from Boyle Sports tipped that Salah would score and Matip would get booked. Won me a good chunk of change yesterday. Here's your cut. And he sent us a super chat. Max, you're an absolute gent, mate. Yeah, and look, another interesting one. And I didn't bring up the Boyle Sports stuff here, so please don't have a pop at me about it, but I'm happy to talk about it. If you remember, if you watched Leon from Boyle Sports in the preview that we did for the game as well, another thing that Leon said was in 86% of Liverpool's games so far this season, both teams have scored in the first half. Well, I can tell you that Connor backed both teams to score in the first half yesterday, and he got his bet up as well. So it is worth listening to Leon and myself when we have these conversations if you fancy a flutter, because Leon bases everything he talks about from the Opta stats, which is part of what you get on Boyle Sports. It's fantastic, and I use stats for all of my betting. I have done, but I used to have to go and find them myself. Now, Boyle Sports have those stats available for you. So, again, if you want to sign up to Boyle Sports, there is a link in the description of the stream. If it isn't for you, no problems whatsoever. I'm only addressing it because somebody won a few bob yesterday, and as I said it to Leon, I'll say it to you, I love taking the money off the bookies, and I hope more of us can do that this season. It's us versus them, isn't it? I said that to Leon. He's the big, bad, bold, bogey man, and we're going to take them for as much as we can. That's the way to do this. Anfield agenda against the bookies. Indy Kayla saying we're going to sign Sancho on pre-contract. Let me just make this very, 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 very clear, Malcolm. Indy Kayla is a very fun account to follow, but he is not somebody who is to be relied upon, put it that way. He's the original ITK, bit of a parody account, definitely worth a follow and lots of fun, but I would not be banking on any transfer news to be coming from Mr. Kayla, put it that way. This is a BTEC United stand. Oh, mate, stop, will you? The amount of crap that I get. The thing that gets to me most about that is me and Mark are so different in personality-wise. It's that's mad. It's just a bit of crack though, isn't it? Either way, I don't take anything like that to heart. What's your predictions for the next 5 league games? What's your opinion on the Champions League game being cancelled? Okay, let's start with the Champions League game being cancelled. Where's this coming from, Callum? And with regards to the next 5 league games, look, one at a time, buddy, because we don't know who'll be available. We don't know what might happen. We still have to get through this international break and see if everybody's available from that. So I'll look ahead to them from next week when I know what's what, if that's okay. But I'm not sure what you mean about the Champions League game being cancelled. I'm not sure where that's come from. Will Liverpool sign anyone in January? I cannot, in good conscience, say yes or no to that. Do I think we will? Yes. Can I guarantee it? No. Of course not. I won't lie to you. But yeah, I do think we'll make an addition in January. I think we'll make a defensive reinforcement. And I think we'll probably see 3-4 players maybe go out on loan that should have gone out on loan beforehand. Mbappe 2021. Unfortunately, I would say no. But I'm telling you, and a lot of people think I'm making this shit up about Haaland. I genuinely feel he's the option. I feel he's the most gettable one. I feel his trajectory and Liverpool's building of Klopp's second side might time well. Financially, I've explained how that could add up, and there's a very good article on Liverpool.com if you want to go and check that out as well about the situation. And that's the one I think is more possible. He would have realistic wage expectations. There is a buyout clause that's supposed to kick in, not next summer, according to Dortmund anyway, but the following summer of €75 million. You could try and do an Naby Keita style deal where you pay a bit extra to kind of get first refusal on him. And look, I'd love Mbappe, of course I would, but do we break our wage structure completely to pay him £500,000 a week plus? I very sincerely doubt it. But then again, we haven't spoken too much about the Red Ball Acquisition Corp, or Red Ball Corp, or Red Ball Acquisition Corp. I'm not sure what way they're called. Basically, Jerry Cardinal and Billy Bean's fund that they've put together to invest in FSG. There's talk that they're going to take either a 20-25% stake in FSG's complete holdings, which would include, of course, Fenway Race Group, would include the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool, and their NASCAR team. Now that would see FSG valued at about $6 billion, and would also see FSG go on the stock exchange, which in turn would see Liverpool listed on the stock exchange, which means us fans could buy a stake in Liverpool, which would be great, and I fully intend to buy a share if I can afford one. And that could free up to $600 million for FSG, which of course they could do with as they please. They could take it as a profit. They could reinvest it into Liverpool and the Red Sox. They could, free up money for players. So there's lots of exciting stuff coming down the line. There's the talk of Liverpool becoming like another Red Bull style parent club, but we have a lot of feeder clubs around Europe and stuff. There are exciting times coming down the line for Reds. And that led into my thinking and my thought process around Haaland and how we could afford him. And if any Liverpool fans think that he won't come to Liverpool, I really question where you think we are as a club, because we are one of the most attractive clubs in the world right now. We have got arguably the best manager in the world. We have got arguably the best squad in the world. I mean, for me, it's us, Man City, and Bayern Munich that can lay down that argument. We're certainly an attractive club with regards to coming and playing in front of the COP and the Liverpool fans. I don't see why not. I don't see why not. And if anyone thinks that we're not in that conversation, then what's the point? What is the point? What's the point of us getting to where we are if we're just going to not back ourselves then? International break useful for injuries? Yeah, it has to be useful for something, mate. Haaland over Sancho all day long. Grace, I'm right with you on that one. 100%. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, Sancho's a great player, but Haaland's the one. If we could get Haaland, get him. Samuel said, Chelsea fan, I admire how Liverpool do their business quietly. Jota came out of nowhere. Same with Fabinho, and they're both ballers. And interestingly, to add to that, Samuel, both the players you're talking about there are both George Mendes' agency, Guest If You, represents both of those players, which makes me think that George Mendes is very capable of keeping things quiet, because I loved the way both those transfers just came out of nowhere and they're both done. So being able for George Mendes, the guest field agency in Liverpool, to be able to keep that quiet, I thought was brilliant. Graphic Gamer HD said, "Hi mate, would you prefer a centre-back partnership of Matip Gomez or Gomez Fabinho?" Gomez Fabinho for me, mate. But interestingly, and I can't believe I'm about to utter these words, yesterday was the first time that Gomez and Matip have started a game together under Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. Let that sink in. I couldn't believe that when I heard it. Couldn't believe it. I thought I'd heard it, and I spoke about it in the build-up to the game, but I wasn't sure if I'd misheard it. But then I read it again yesterday, and I just thought, that's mental. Hope Haaland signs for Leeds, his dream club, said Cube. I don't think it will be his dream club. His dream was to play in the Bundesliga, actually. Trent will play against Leicester, confirmed. It's absolutely not confirmed, and you're talking out of your arsehole, mate. 4 weeks is the time frame on Trent from what's been put out there. Van Dijk injury has absolutely not been reduced to 3 months. For you to be coming on and spreading that false information to Liverpool fans, mate, that gets you a massive fuck you and bye bye from me. That's just spreading false information blatantly, mate, and we don't want that in our chat, so see ya. It's not right. He's full of shit, Grace. Don't mind him. He's absolutely full of shit and just trying to spread fake information. And I won't be having it. I'm sorry. I'm not having our subscribers blatantly lied to. Like you said, though, it's wages that's going to be a tough one. Yes, it will. Wages. We'd have to smash our wage structure to bring in Kylian Mbappe. You could hope and make an argument for the Nike side of it and all, but look, I really just don't think it's going to happen. Do I think Liverpool need another goalkeeper? Yes, 100%. Need a strong backup goalkeeper, mate. No doubt about that. Is Thiago called upon by Spain? No, got cool. He wasn't called up by Luis Enrique in the latest Spanish squad, which is, fair, because he can't play for Liverpool. So he will have that time to recuperate, mate, and try and prepare for the Leicester game. How long is Trent out for? 4 weeks. According to Paul Joyce, anyway. Calf injury, 4 weeks. So 2 weeks after the international break, hopefully. Just joined. Can I please do a recap? Give me 2 minutes, Charlie, and I'll go back through it, buddy. No problem. Again, it's been a different stream tonight, mate. I haven't really had an agenda to go through. We've just been chatting. Bring back Danny Ward. No, not good enough. We need better. Butland needs to come in instead, to be honest. He went. He's gone. Jack Butland joined... who did he join? He joined somebody, didn't he? Who was it Butland joined, actually? He joined somebody in the summer window, and I can't for the life of me remember who the hell it was. But he did join somebody, so no, we won't be coming in. Palace, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, I knew he joined. I couldn't remember where it was, but I knew he had signed on for somebody. Mbappe's on 375 grand a week. Neymar's on 600 grand a week. Mental. Yeah, again, and that'll just go up, mate, on his next contract when he goes anywhere. And I suppose, look, Neymar's further along in his career as well, so he would be at the pinnacle of his wage bracket probably. Do I think Kelleher deserves a chance? Without doubt. I mean, am I biased because he's Irish? Probably a little bit, but genuinely, listen to the words from John Achterberg, listen to the Irish coach Stephen Kenny talking about Caoimhín Kelleher, listen to Alan Kelly, the Irish under-21s coach, speaking about Kelleher. They all marvel at how good he is. But he does need experience and he does need game time, and if he's not going to get that at Liverpool, then hopefully he'll get a loan move that will allow him to go and get some valuable minutes. If Mbappe leaves, then Neymar will leave, but where? I don't know Neymar's contract situation, Ash, but I do know that Mbappe will just have 1 year left at the end of this year, so he's certainly in a strong negotiating standpoint if he wants to engineer a move out. I don't know what Neymar's contract situation is, and also Mbappe would be far more, I suppose, attractive because of his age bracket, because he still has a lot of his career to fulfill, whereas Neymar is never available on his birthday, never available on his sister's birthday, picks up stupid red cards, rolls around like a clown, and has been wasting his talents as far as I'm concerned. Is Thiago going to start against Leicester? I sincerely hope so, Ishmael, but I cannot guarantee anything around Thiago, buddy. Craig, I like how you deal with these people telling lies and talking bollocks. Look, mate, I want to protect what we have here. And our moderators work really hard to make sure that the chat's friendly and that there's no spamming. I try and make sure that I, interact as much as I can. But I will not and don't want people coming in here spreading falsehoods to our subscribers, because that's not right. And I don't want that to be linked to the channel. And I don't want the channel to get a reputation for that. So I'll always be honest. Even if it's not what people want to hear, I'm going to be honest, because that's the only way I know how to do things. Craig, do you predict to be the next name to emerge from the youth and under 23s? Sorry, I'm going to just take a sec to think this through, because my initial instinct is to say Paul Glatzel, because his career was stalled a bit when he picked up that, I think it was an ACL that kept him out for basically an entire season. Himself and Bobby Duncan back in the day were banging in goals for the under 18s, banging them in for fun, having a competition between them, and he's starting to come back now and rebuild himself. So I think maybe Glatzel could be somebody we see break through at some point. I certainly hope so as well. But then of course you've got Billy Comedio, who's right on the verge of it as well. Favourite United player? I mean, I'll answer it. Rashford. Marcus Rashford, for various reasons. Because he's a good lad, a fucking great lad actually. Very talented footballer. Somebody who I think has a very good work ethic. Great character, great ability. Rashford. Why not? I don't mean, if I have to like any Manchester United player, might as well be somebody who's fighting for the youth of England and the UK and doing a remarkable job of it, and somebody who any young man should look up to, and rightly so, because Marcus Rashford is a tremendous fella. Nothing but respect for Rashford. But yeah, I hate United, of course. I don't want to pick any of their players, but again, honest opinion. What have we got? Defo not the English centre half. What, the human fridge? Nah, not him, mate. World's most expensive defender, don't you know? Can't wait for a Tyson boxing match. I don't like the idea of Tyson fighting. I mean, what is an exhibition in boxing? Do you know what I mean? You're either going in there to fight each other or you're not. Hiding it under an exhibition, I just think, is ridiculous. I think Tyson should have left it be. I mean, if himself and Roy Jones Jr. want to get in there and have a few slaps at each other, so be it. But for me, I have my memories of Mike Tyson growing up, and they'll be the memories that I'll always keep. Delighted to see him doing well in life. Delighted to see him back and doing a little bit in the gym. You can, he still has it, but it's my take. I wouldn't like to see him fighting again, to be honest. Gabriel said, hey Craig, love how you're so positive, great show, thank you very much, mate. Do you think that we'll be able to get through until January transfer window, when hopefully we'll have a centre back, the Lisburn Reds? Look, I try to be positive, mate, because right now we're all living in a crazy world, buddy, where things change quickly from one day to the next. We all have fears, we all have worries, we all have stresses. Some financial, some emotional, some health related, and I just think to myself, people coming in, tuning in for an hour and 15 minutes, they don't need me to be negative. They don't need me to bitch and moan about stuff. I try to be positive because I try to live my life in a positive way. So thanks, and I'm glad you enjoy the positivity, but I just don't see the point in being negative. It doesn't accomplish anything. I mean, yes, you can be critical, of course, if there's certain things to critique, but I try and remove any negativity from my life in any way I can. I just don't see the point in it. It doesn't lead to anything other than a headache. Is Trent out for 4 weeks? It certainly looks that way, Mike. Yes, that's what's being reported, mate, by Paul Joyce, and I trust what Paul Joyce has to say. Right, I did promise somebody I'd do a recap, didn't I? Right, we had a little chat around VAR, and I just reminded you guys that next Monday I'm going to be joined by Mark Goldbridge from the United Stand, where we'll discuss VAR in more detail and have a look over the season. And we spoke about Trent's injury, which looks like it's going to be 4 weeks, according to various reports at this point. A couple of people asked about Thiago, would he be available for Leicester, and the honest answer is, I don't know. I hope so. I think that's pretty much it, other than the penalty incident, the handballs and stuff like that we spoke about as well. But at least it's only 2 weeks for the international break. Yeah, I hear you, man. It is. Craig, what do I think of Haaland? I think you said Goretzka or Felix to Anfield. João Felix is class. Atleti paid a handsome amount to get him there, and I'd love to see him in the Premier League someday. But he'll be at Atleti for a while, I think. Goretzka, the difference in him physically from when he joined Bayern to now is ridiculous. Like he's beefed up so much. Class player, but Haaland would be the most likely there, I think, to come to Liverpool. Fabinho should be back, James, after the international break. So I suppose the question, excuse me, bit of a hiccup. The question will be who plays at right back? Will young Williams come in at right back? Will Gomez go over to right back? Will Milner go at right back? Will Fabinho go to right back? Or will something crazy happen like Hendo going to right back? They're the conversations I'm sure the manager will be having with the coaches during the international break. And there are options there for the manager, which is good. And we've Costas Tsimikas as well, as we spoke about. We could switch our fullbacks around if needs be. João Felix has a 7-year contract at Atleti, said Samuel. Yeah, they did do that in Atleti quite a bit, actually. I think, did they sign Oblak to a long deal at one point as well? But yeah, they paid a shit ton of money to get João Felix out of Benfica. So yeah, I don't see him moving at any point. And look, he still has a lot to prove as well. It's a young fledgling career, and I like that he's challenged himself. I always give players like that credit. He's gone on, he's challenged himself, and it's a difficult gig. And he looks like a decent player, but he's not there yet. When is Trent back? About 2 weeks when the international break finishes, mate. So 4 weeks in total. Cube said, I'd heard that Maguire was more expensive than Bayern's entire starting 11 in the Champions League final. I don't know if that was, or I hope that's the case, mate, but I don't know if it was or wasn't. Right, is there anything else? Couple more bits and pieces before we finish up. Again, just a reminder that I'll be interviewing Jan Fjørtoft next week as well, so keep an eye out for that next week. It's going to be a pre-recorded interview. Mark coming in on Monday. We're going to take a few days off now, myself and Connor, because we need to take a break first and foremost, but we also need to sort out some stuff with regards to our partnership with Boyle Sports moving forward, how we can implement more stuff, more content and stuff in. A few ideas that Connor and I have as well. We need to sort out some free bets for you guys as well, of course, and a few other bits and pieces as well. So it may be Thursday when you see me again, folks. It may be Friday, but make sure to keep an eye on the Instagram account, because I'm going to start doing some more stuff on Instagram Live as well. A few Q&As and stuff like that. So if you don't follow our Instagram account, please do check it out at Anfield Agenda. Same on Twitter as well. But yeah, I think that's about it. Huge fan, please reply. My pleasure, Dishards. Always happy to reply, mate. I hope that life's treating you well. We're very, very close, by the way, to 57,200. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. There's still a 428 of you guys there. We only need about 5 new subscribers to make that number tick over. Right, have a nice break. I'm not going yet, David. Relax, man. I've about 10 minutes left of me, I'd say, before I'm knackered. So I'll stay on for another 10 minutes. So please do keep the questions coming if there's anything you want to talk about, or any points from the weekend you want to raise. John Goodman said, new to the channel, great stuff. Pleasure to have you with us, John. Thank you very much. Welcome to the family, because that's what it is on here, mate. And I'm sure that you'll get a warm greeting from everybody in the chat as well, because they're a good bunch. Forgot to sub, said Ree. Well, hopefully you do it now, man. Hopefully you do it now. I see the WFM shirt. Yes, I've had this a while actually, buddy. I never talk about them. They are available if anybody ever wants to buy them. There's a link in the description to our Teespring store. But yeah, I keep forgetting. The money side of this stuff just doesn't interest me at all. I'm just in this for the content. I don't give a shite about the commercial partnerships, the ad revenue. None of that stuff interests me at all. I just want to come on here and chat to you guys and have fun. I actually leave most of that stuff to Connor because it doesn't interest me. I'm only interested in talking about Liverpool, watching games and having fun. What time does Craig go to sleep? About 5, 6 a.m, mate. I've always been a night owl. I've always been somebody that has worked nighttime jobs. So I was a DJ, I worked as a taxi driver, I worked for an online poker company doing the night shift as well, because we catered for the American market. You've always been a night bird, mate. Usually try and time getting up for when the kids are coming home from school, And I get my work done at night time as well because it's the only time the house is quiet. So yeah, I'm a night bird. How good was Genie against Man City? He's class, Robbie. I just love Genie. Love everything about the lad. Love his work rate, love his consistency, love that big smile of his. And I hope, like everyone else, that he signs on for a new contract. Samuel said Bayern's whole squad was 90 million. That's crazy, man. Thank you, Raj, as well. Lots of love to you, buddy. And I hope you, the international... I was going to say enjoy the international break, but I think we're going to have to try and, form a support group and get through this together. 100k tattoo, said Donald Bellers Kimball. Yeah, as promised, buddy. I'm not saying when because I don't know if we'll ever get there, but if the channel hits 100k, I will of course get that tattoo. I've planned to do it since like 13, 14k, since that far back. Base Face in Space said, what was my DJ name? A couple early days, Mr. Magoo, but other than that, it was just my own name, mate. Just my own name. Any old Irish DJ heads out there probably will remember the name Johnny Moy. He's my cousin. So yeah, if anybody does know the Irish music scene, I know Brian certainly does because he was involved in it. Johnny Moy would have been one of my cousins, so certainly had a nice intro in there. I remember being in a DJ box with himself and Carl Cox and Francois at one point, and I had a record in my hand that Johnny had given me. I think it was called Night of the Jaguar, if my memory serves me correct. It was a white label. And I remember Carl Cox asked me could he have it, and I told him no. But yeah, that was mad. I had some great times doing that as well. But it's a young man's game, and certainly a single man's game as well. Taxi driving is what football YouTubers did before YouTube. Pretty much, Brian, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It pretty much is. Hey Craig, getting annoyed with people slagging off Firmino. Oh man, Rob, don't get me started. There's a section of people out there who I don't think belong in the Liverpool fan base, and I call them fair weather fans. You can describe them whichever way you want, but they're people that when things are going well, they're the first ones on there giving it the YNWA and this means more, everything's different, la la la. But when things hit the shit a little bit, when things go a little bit askew, they're the first ones to stick the knife in a player's back, or they're the first ones to, throw a player under the bus. And that's not Liverpool fans, man. Especially not with somebody like Roberto Firmino, who has been the heart and soul of our team along with Henderson since Kloppo came in. And man, anyone who has anything bad to say about Bobby Firmino can kiss my ass, is basically it. Yes, you can critique his performances of late. They're not up to Bobby's usually high standards. I get that. But back the lad. Get behind him. Let him know we've got his back. Let him know he's one of ours. Let him know we know that this is just a little blip and there'll be a brighter day ahead. Otherwise, just give up. Just stop. Because that's not what we need. That's not what we want. That's not what they deserve, first and foremost. We are looking at a special group of Liverpool players right now, led by a special man. If you can't enjoy it right now, if you're that spoiled already that you're throwing Roberto Firmino under a bus, give up, man. It's not for you. It's ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. Rangers won 8-0. I seen that, Cube. A tremendous win for them. I think didn't Celtic win 4-1 as well yesterday? But yeah, Rangers, I think they're unbeaten this season, if I'm right. You gave my friend a lift in a taxi once. Do you remember the name Jake Convery? No, mate. Everybody knows my memory's shocking, buddy. I'm more likely to remember if you gave me an area I may have picked him up in, but I could well have picked him up. I hope I was nice to him anyway. Agreed. Thank you very much for that one. David Newell said, positive side, with all the injuries, it'll give our youngsters much needed experience and will catch the benefits of it in the long run. Before I go, can I just ask everybody a question? And it's in relation to the title of tonight's stream. Am I the only one that thinks that nobody's going to be able to keep with us this season consistently enough? I'm not saying that we're going to blitz the league like we did last year. But I'm after seeing everybody so far we've seen this season. Manchester City, Everton, Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Spurs, none of them worry me. None of them, I think, will be consistent enough to keep pace with us over 38 games. To me, it's our title to lose. I'm not saying it'll be easy. It will be very competitive and there will be a lot more points dropped than last year, but I just can't see us not winning it. And I know that sounds arrogant and I don't mean it to be It's my genuine opinion from what I've looked at. From somebody who's been involved and watched the sport my entire life, I just can't see how anybody can stay with us. I mean, that hardest game of the season yesterday, and, you know, for the first half we were tremendous. Second half, City shaded that, and a draw was probably a fair result, but that was our most difficult game of the season. The Etihad, and it's done. Everton away, done. Chelsea away, done. Arsenal at home, done. We've had difficult games this season. Very difficult start. Look at our first 8 games. 5 difficult games in there. And we've gotten through it, and we're still only 1 point off the top spot. And we've had a whole raft of injuries. We've lost Van Dijk. We've had Alisson out. Trent's out. Fabinho was out. We haven't even had a chance to play Thiago yet properly. I just can't see how, when things click, anyone's going to keep pace with us. But then again, look, people are going to call me arrogant, but it is genuinely my honest opinion. I agree with you, said Cube. Spurs come out to title run, said Samuel. Mate, I said that. I said that Spurs will challenge for the Champions League places about 2 months ago, and I was laughed at. People were telling me that they weren't even going to get in the top 6. But there you go. Things can change quickly. Football is about consistency in the league. Brian said nobody scares me. Harry thinks Chelsea are our biggest threat. To me, I look at Chelsea and I worry more next season. I'm not saying they won't be there or thereabouts this year, but they will worry me a lot more next season when they've all gelled a bit more. They've had a full season in the Premier League, all of them, and they will be a serious threat without any doubt. I just think, again, for consistency reasons, we might see Chelsea's best next season. Craig, you should issue a yellow card for the naughty poster. Some people may at least deserve a warning. I don't do this, Grace. I'm not the one that's booting people out. Our moderators do that job, and they do it because either people have posted the same comment multiple times, and sometimes they just remove the comment and put them in timeout. Sometimes they ban them completely. There are things for them to go through. There are certain things that get certain things, like for instance spamming gets a warning, then a ban. Trolling, ban. Racist abuse, ban. So there are different tiers for different actions from our moderators, and they have a very hard job, particularly on match days, and the work that John and Mark and Steve and Dave and Joanne and everybody that's a moderator on the channel, they do. We couldn't do it without them. The chat wouldn't be what it is without the hard work of the moderator. So they always have my backing, and I'm always here if anybody feels they've been hard done by or they want a request to be unbanned. I'm always available, and we just try and be as fair as we can. Tomato Scale said I love Manchester United. Brilliant. I mean, great. Genuinely mean that. It's always lovely to hear somebody back in their club, mate. So well in. You didn't spam it. You put it in once. Fair play. Welcome. Back to back, said Dino. Well in, man. Mourinho was class. Well, look, nobody can argue about the man's credentials. Can't argue about Mourinho's credentials. Whether you like him or you don't like him, can't argue about his credentials. What else we got? I couldn't name another team able to play the level we do week in and week out. The injuries we've got, will always believe, said John Goodman. Well played. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll call that one a night. How we feel? Are we all good? Thank you, as always, for your time, your love, your support. Thank you to our sponsors, Boyle Sports, as well. Again, if you want to sign up or anything, there's a link in the description. Check out their offers as well. We'll have some free bets and stuff coming for you guys very soon, and a few other bits and pieces as well. Again, a reminder, next week we've got Mark coming in on Monday for a chat. We have Lee Chappie coming in on Wednesday or Thursday of next week to discuss the Leicester game, and Jan Fjorthoff interview. Loads of stuff coming up on the channel. So I'm going to take a couple of days off, as is Connor, to kind of get a rest, do some behind the scenes work as well that we need to get done. And I will see you guys on Thursday or Friday. So if you're watching this back later on, again, Thursday or Friday, I'll be back on with the stream. I wish you guys a lovely week. I hope that you all stay safe as always. I hope your families are safe. I hope life treats you well. And look, thank you again for everything. Thank you for getting us to 57k. Thank you for just being fucking amazing. Can't say that enough. Love you guys so much. I will see you later on in the week, and up the Reds. This is the part where I